Aloha, I'm Craig Chee.
And I'm Sarah Maisel, and welcome to our second installment of Cooking with Uke, where we are going to try our hands at some vegetarian ramen.
Now, if you missed episode 1, you might want to check it out. We went over how to make a spam musubi.
Yum.
Now, just like the first episode, there will be a little section on some ukulele tips, and that's where I'll take over. But for now, I'm going to let Sarah get you started.
All right, we're going to be doing our vegetarian ramen recipe for you guys. However, even though I use vegetable broth, you can use meat broths if you so desire. But for me and our travels, it has been difficult finding vegetarian ramen, which is why I've focused really hard on trying to make a really wonderful recipe. There are 2 steps that I generally do the day prior, which are making the ramen egg, because it's much tastier if it's been marinated for 24 hours, and making my own vegetable broth. You can buy vegetable broth from the grocery store, but it just isn't as flavorful. For our ramen egg, we are going to need eggs, water, soy sauce, and mirin. Combine 6 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and 2 tablespoons of mirin in order to create our marinade. After bringing the water to a boil, place in your eggs and turn the heat down to a medium-low. Have them cook for 7 to 9 minutes. When they're done, pull them out with a slotted spoon and put them in an ice bath until cool. After peeling your eggs, put them in a plastic bag, pour in the marinade, seal it, and put it in the fridge for 3 to 24 hours. Gather leafy greens as well as other vegetables from your fridge. Coarsely chop them and prepare a 6-quart or 5-liter pot. Fill that pot halfway with the vegetables and cover with water. Put it on high heat, and once it comes to a boil, be sure to turn it down to a low simmer. The veggies will soften after 45 minutes, but you can keep them on the stovetop for 3 hours if you'd like a stronger broth. Afterward, pull the vegetables out and put them in a fine mesh strainer, pressing out all of the yummy veggie goodness. This will ensure a nice clear broth. The broth will stay good for 2 to 3 days in the refrigerator, or you can freeze it for up to a month. Now that our egg is marinated and our vegetable broth is done, it's time to start on the base for our ramen. You will need 4 pieces of konbu, 5 to 6 pieces of dried shiitake mushrooms, and 8 cups of our homemade vegetable broth. If you would like a stronger soup base, use 7 cups instead. Put on the lid, turn the heat down to a medium-low, and let it sit for at least 30 minutes. Now it's time to make our mushroom topping. We will need mushrooms, sesame oil, pepper, and togarashi blend. Cut your mushrooms into 1/4-inch slices and put in a bowl. Combine a 1/4 cup of sesame oil, a 1/2 teaspoon of togarashi blend or cayenne pepper, a dash of black pepper, and mix by hand until well blended. Preheat your oven to 425 Fahrenheit. Now that our broth is sat for 30 minutes, remove the konbu and the shiitake mushrooms. Then prepare 6 red dried chilies, 5 crushed garlic pieces, put them in the pot, and let it sit on a low to medium heat for another 30 minutes to an hour.
Alright, as we're waiting for things to kind of finish up, we have some time to work on our ukulele playing. Now, in the first episode, Sarah worked with you on a movable major scale shape. That was a lot of left-hand work. So now we're actually going to focus on that right hand. We're going to be going over 3 different finger roll patterns that we can utilize to help enhance our sound. Now, the first pattern, and of course let's hold a C chord to start. Again, that's 0, 0, 0, 3. I put my middle finger there just to help kind of hold it down, and as well as getting to that G chord nice and easy by keeping that middle finger down. But anyways, holding that C chord, right hand, we're going to use our index and our thumb. We're going to place them on the 2 inside strings, and we're going to hit the thumb and then index. So one at a time, the 2 inside strings. So in, side, in, side. Then we're going to take those same 2 fingers, place them on the outside strings, and again the same pattern, thumb, index. So we're going to start with the inside strings, in, side, and then out, side, in, side, out, side, inside, outside. Now we're going to call this our inside-outside roll, especially since we're making ramen, it's going to go nice together. Now, with that inside-outside roll, we can do a pattern. We're going to start off the G chord, inside-outside, switch to the C chord, then to the D chord, then to the G chord. Alright, so just with that pattern, we can practice G, inside, outside, rest, rest, C, rest, rest, D, G. Again. So this is especially useful for some really nice and slow, very pretty type of songs, either as an introduction or a verse to break it down. And we're going to take that one step further. So let's hold our G chord again. So G chord, we're going to start off the same way, inside, outside, and then we're going to go back to the inside strings but reverse the order. So then it's going to be E string, C string. So it's going to sound like this. Inside, outside, rest, E, C. So after the inside-outside roll, we have a small rest. That gives us time to get back to the inside strings, and then reverse the order, index, thumb. Alright, so again, inside, outside, rest, E, C. Inside, outside, rest, index, thumb. Alright, so now it's going to sound a little bit more full when you add everything together. So the 4 chords, G, C, D, and C, is going to sound like this. Alright, great job. Now, one of our favorite kind of finger rolls that we use in our online ukulele school at Artist Works is called the Jake roll, and it's going to be a 6 note run, and it's going to utilize 3 fingers this time. So it's a little bit trickier, but just as much fun. Now, let's hold that C chord one more time. We're going to use, again, 3 fingers this time on the right hand, middle on the A string, index on the E string, thumb on the C string for now. Now, the middle and index, they do not leave their strings. So middle is glued to the A, index is glued to the E. And for now, again, thumb is on the C. The order will always be thumb, middle, index. Again, holding that C chord, thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle, index, C, A, E, C, A, E. Now, the only thing that changes for the next 3 notes is your thumb is going to go to the G string, and it's going to be the same order, thumb, A, E, or thumb, middle, index. Again, these guys do not leave those 2 strings. So again, these 3 strings, thumb, middle, index, thumb goes to the outside, thumb, middle, index. So the great part about this technique is that it's always consistent. Thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle, index. Middle and index always stay on these 2 strings. Thumb is going back and forth between the C and the G. So C, A, E, G, A, E, C, A, E, G, A, E. So if we're playing the same chords as we did before, G, C, D, and G, it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To C, D, okay, so it sounds a little tricky, but again, because of that consistency, it's a lot easier than it sounds. Now, this is something that you can definitely take further. It sounds really pretty, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, middle, mid, slow. But what we want to end up doing is really working on that speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So even songs, like a progression, let's say something like this. You can start slow. Alright, while you're practicing, be sure to keep an ear out for that oven being preheated. We hope that you can take these techniques and apply it to songs you already know and love, and hopefully it will help expand your sound.
Now that our oven is preheated, place the mushrooms on a foil-lined pan and put them in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes or until golden brown. Now it's time to combine our soy milk and white miso. Have 1 cup of warm soy milk to 3 tablespoons of miso. Combine and blend together with an immersion blender or a regular blender. Now that the broth is sat for a half hour, remove the chilies and the garlic. The miso mixture can curdle, so please pour it in as slowly as possible. But if it does curdle, don't worry, it will still taste great. To blanch our spinach topping, put 3/4 of a bunch of spinach in boiling water for 3 seconds or until wilted. Remove it and put it in a strainer. Once it is strained, move the spinach to a bowl. Although you can use dehydrated noodles, fresh is always best. They are very easy to find at your local Asian market. Place the noodles in boiling water for 1.5 to 2 minutes. Then strain the noodles and rinse with cold water. To prepare our ramen egg, remove it from the bag and carefully slice. Be mindful of the soft yolk. Here are our toppings for today. However, you can add as many or as few toppings as you desire, such as nori, bamboo shoots, green onions, corn, and more. Ramen is an amazing comfort dish, and it is perfect for those chilly nights. Also, the presentation is lovely. You can always prepare broth ahead of time and have it waiting for you in your freezer as well. Even though this recipe is vegetarian, you can always add a meat topping.
Well, thank you guys so very much for checking out this episode of Cooking with Uke. Please feel free to subscribe to this channel. We'll be doing more things like this, some music videos, and actually we're scrambling to get this done before we leave next week to the Ukulele Festival of Scotland, and we'll also be headed straight to the Midwest Uke Camp in a couple weeks in Michigan. So hope to see you guys there.
And please feel free to send us pictures of all of your creations. I have to say a special thank you to Rudy and Julia for sending us wonderful photos of their spam musubi from episode 1. So we'd love to see some of your ramen pictures. So feel free to find us on Facebook and post those photos.
All right, happy strumming, everyone. Aloha.
Aloha.